while you might bring your money to the relationship, I would argue most women, like even if you make good money, in the same way that you just said, the guy should pay for the first date.
Yeah.
Like most women do not share their resources with men the same way that men share their resources with women.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, you make a lot of money. You're not going to pay for the first date. We're going to have to be 3 months deep in the relationship for me to potentially even reap any benefits of your wealth, which might not even manifest, because there's even women who are high earners that still don't want to like pay for the first date.
If you're married, the money is ours. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, but I tell folks all the time you need to do a vocab rehab, which is basically taking the words me, my, his, hers out of the money conversation, and it's ours. That counts for the money and that counts for the debt.
Debt you accrued before we were married is yours. Debt that you accrue while we are together is yours. Same goes for me and my debt. The point is that each partner helps the other with their debt, losing one's sense of personal identity in order to view things the right way is ridiculous and unwise.
What's your biggest turnoff in guys?
Probably when they don't work out.
This is one of those videos where I don't even need to say anything. It's pretty self-explanatory.
I really don't know what to say to this, so I'll just leave this here for you all to interpret.
Men value you when you value yourself. Men respect you when you respect yourself. You teach people how to treat you. How do you do that? By looking at how do you treat yourself.
Why would you rather have a young, inexperienced, possibly naive and immature young woman who has not really accomplished anything? Maybe she hasn't found her own way. She hasn't made anything of herself just yet. Why would you want that over a woman who is older, wiser, more experienced, and more independent? She's not going to take all your money. She doesn't need you, but she wants you.
A guy values a woman's sexual purity above all things because we can build off of that. Guys want a woman with low body count first and foremost. That's the ultimate flex. Not how much you can throw it down on him fucking doggy style, or how much you can throw that ass back, or your BBL, or your 1900 lip injections. None of that shit matters. Are you a hoe or are you not a hoe? And if you're not a hoe, guess what? Gold tier status.
Modern women think guys date younger women because they're easy to manipulate. Older women, it is you who have created the issue you are now complaining about. You have become combative, overly argumentative and demanding, too stressed and simply unpleasant to be with. No man wants to go near that.
For a guy to date you, what does he need to bring?
Stable job, good family,
happiness,
kindness. Intellectual. He needs to be like smart, not just like academic smart, but like, you know, needs to be outgoing.
How much does a good job pay?
We're about to be seniors in college, right?
So define
so, like,
good job.
You define it.
Well, I would say right out of college, if my man is not making at least $90K, he's not gonna be my man.
At what age do you typically graduate college?
I'll graduate when I'm 22.
Okay, so 22, he needs to be pulling out $90K.
Oh yeah, I know so many people.
If you're doing the right career path and you want to, if you're going for what you want, maybe it's less than 90K, but as long as you're achieving what you want to achieve.
80, no, not achieving. Motherfucker, you say achieving what you want to achieve. It's gonna be a fucking like theater or something. No. 85 to 90K, I feel like is a stable income right out of college, especially I guess in our field.
Women expected to party for a decade, then land a top-tier man in time to pop a few kids and live happily ever after. A few pull it off, but most end up alone, medicated, bitter, and somewhat impoverished.
When a man wants to get married, he's only getting married truly for one reason. Because let me be honest with you women, the men can work and provide for themselves. He does not necessarily need you to cook, clean, and have sex because he can get sex for multiple women. They're giving it out. A lot of them can cook and clean. Their mother taught them, or they can pay someone to get it. The culture is telling them, do not get married. So why would a man go past what the culture is telling him and choose to have a wife? Because with a wife, you can now have love, you can now have nurturing, you can have support, you can have affection. This is what he can't get from a roommate. So if that is not what you're leading with in your relationships with men, is love, support, nurturing, and respect. This is why your husband is now pulling away, because in the beginning you gave him those things. But as you got into the relationship, you got bitter, you got resentful, you start seeing his flaws, start counting that against him, you start measuring him against other men, and now you're pulling back on the love, the affection, and the nurture.
We men peak at different ages. That is the reality. Of course, I will go for the younger ones now that I have options, and so will any man. When a woman understands that she will be happy in every or nearly every way, when she lets a man control her entire life and serves him entirely, she will finally get it.
There's sort of this line that like men should only go for women who are under 25, and if you're 25 and you don't have a partner, then you're like a gross old lady or something. And I think part of that comes from a fear that these men have that an older woman or a woman that's age appropriate will know that they're bullshit. And young women don't have the life experience to detect the bullshit. So they need somebody who is not going to realize that they're absolute garbage at sex. They need to know somebody who's too young to realize that they overplay how important they are and how smart they are and how cool they are. And the reason that they're able to do that with younger people is because they have no life experience to prove to the contrary. You can't get anything past a woman who's like been dating for 20 years by the time she's 35. She's just going to be like, nah, dude, you're trash.
It's not about your age, really. It is about your attitude. You are now too scarred and miserable to the point of being non-cooperative, unsupportive, and cold in a relationship. Of course, if Chad and Tyrone are the only men ever visible to you, then do not wonder why he has options and prefers to go for younger, more accessible women.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they do nothing all day.
Do we need men?
No, like, they just sit there.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they're icky.
How did he find 3 tiny girls all dressed in just insane fashion? Tough world out there for men. It really is, both on this and the dating side of things. Somebody said, that's the same person 3 times. Thank you. That's what I think. Somebody else said, pay attention to me. You must look at me. I require attention, whether it's good or bad attention. I do not care. Just pay attention to me. Yeah, that's why they're all dressed like that and why they say things like that. It's all for shock value.
It's true about older men and options for women. I think it's the confidence and capabilities of an older guy that turns them on. However, the thing that shocked me was the lack of manners and basic respect for younger women. Successful older men have increased their choices, while successful older women have narrowed their choices, and this small number of choices is what frustrates them the most.
If you have a man that is like even just slightly above average, like how do you not spend almost all your time just like bragging about him? As far as I'm concerned, bragging about my husband is like my favorite extracurricular activity. It's like a full-time hobby, because here's why. My younger self, I've seen some shit when it comes to men. Like, I've been in the trenches, okay? So when I found my husband and I started dating him, like, I was marking all that territory. Like, that mine. And 7 years later, despite all of our struggles, despite all of the stuff we've been through, despite all of the things that...
This is the type of woman that motivates her husband to be the best man possible. And she is who more single women need to listen to, instead of that single woman that says that men shouldn't be praised for doing the bare minimum. Because there is no minimum. You're not his job. You're his partner, and you should both appreciate doing the little things for each other without expectations.
They shame us for anything that breaks their reality of I'm perfect. Women genuinely believe they deserve a Prince Charming. They lack empathy to understand that men desire different things.
I did some research. I found out that most women never marry the man they really want to be with. Oh, I'm about to mess up the church's money, ain't it? Let me tell you, this is how I figured it out. Let me tell you something you've never heard a man say since you've been alive. You've never heard a man say this since you've been on this planet. You've never heard a man say, she grew on me. But every woman knows a woman who would say in front of the man she loved, committed to God, financed the wedding and his family. When I first met him, he was not my type at all. He was short. He was going bald. He had little small hands. I don't like men with small hands, but I mean, eventually he grew on me. That is the rudest thing to say about a man you spending the rest of your life with. This man grew on you like a scab, like a wart, like eczema.
Many men want to be that first, physically, romantically, and with experiences such as traveling. The more experience a man has, the more he wants to give. The more experience a woman has, the more she expects, and the more she wants to experience those things with other men. Men want to provide and protect, but they dislike feeling obligated to do such things, and that too, without appreciation or respect.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men, but why do women tend to end divorces? And with successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to
She
put
said
up
it earlier.
with.
It's
So
a feeling.
why-
Feelings
yeah.
change from day to day.
Yeah,
time
so
to
I
time.
could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the
Because
point.
he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
that's all I'm asking.
If I marry you and
Yeah.
you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff and maybe.
So is there no risk
So?
without reward?
Oh, so what's
You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
You
men
wanted to marry me.
don't want to
You
get married.
thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and
so
take
real
the
quick,
risk.
hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words why guys don't get married.
The modern problems between men and women are not about men being too feminine, or women being too masculine, or even about women expecting traditional treatment when they are not traditional women. It's about the complete entitlement that modern women have and how they use that to get the benefits without the responsibility.
A broke woman who makes no money, struggles to pay her rent and typical basic bills every month, calls men that can't send her to get her nails done a brokey or sassy. Delusion.
Women fall in love in 3 stages. And if any of those stages are missing, the relationship will either break down very quickly or it will break down very slowly, but it will break down. And I call it the 3 A's. The first thing is women have to be truly attracted to their man in order for the relationship to actually turn into love at some stage. There has to be physical attraction. Because naturally that fades with time and, with so much familiarity. If we don't have that to begin with, it can become very difficult to start a romantic relationship. So I always say it starts with attraction. The second stage for a woman to truly fall in love with a man, she has to admire who he is. And what that means is, with or without her influence, he's just a man that she admires. He's got a great job, he's got a good network of friends, he's got lots of self-control, he's not an addict and he's not addicted, he's got a good level of self-control in terms of money, his body, his sexual behavior, he's not all over the place. So she truly admires him. And then once she's attracted and admires him, then she needs adoration from him. He needs to show her, adore her, reassure her, all of those things. If she gets all 3 of those, chances are that relationship won't break down. But if any of those are missing, maybe he adores her, absolutely adores her, but she's not truly attracted to him, at some stage the relationship will break down because adoration will feel like neediness. Or let's say, for example, she's truly attracted to him and he's giving her lots of reassurance, but he's not an admirable man. He's not working, he's not achieving, he's not doing a lot, even though she might love him and it might be a slow breakdown, but at some stage she'll need someone she can admire, particularly when she has children. So without those 3 ingredients, I don't think women realize this, but if any of those are missing, they will at some stage lose interest.
This lack of reciprocity fosters a deep imbalance in our relationships and in our society at large. Up until the Industrial Revolution, women's labour was a significant contributor to the overall economy and therefore a significant contributor to the economic productivity and prosperity of individual families. For example, through most of Western history, women did not come to the table empty-handed.
There is a big difference between a bitter baby mama and a frustrated single mother. If she says, I don't like that you have a girlfriend, so I'm not letting you see our child, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I think it's BS that you pick and choose when you want to see your kid, that's a frustrated single mother. If she says, I'm increasing child support if you don't do things my way, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I need you to step up and pay for and take care of the child we made together, that's a frustrated single mother. If she won't hand over the child because you were 3 hours late for pickup, that's a frustrated single mother. But if she won't hand over the child because you were 3 minutes late for pickup, that's a bitter baby mama. A very important thing in co-parenting is to not treat a frustrated single mother like a bitter baby mama and vice versa, because these 2 women are not the same.
Let's be honest, how many women on a daily basis walk past Clark Kent not realising he's Superman? If women spoke to their men and communicated their problems, no matter if it was emotional intimacy or whatever, they wouldn't be in the position they are in.
A shocking new claim about the falling marriage rate is raising a lot of questions right now. A new study says the reason fewer people are getting married is because there's a shortage of, quote, economically attractive men.
Ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right? Maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, self-perpetuating problem. Not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable, but I wouldn't want to take you home to mom desirable.
The reason our grandparents and others before them made it work was because they stopped listening to other people and made their own decisions, regardless of the person they liked or didn't.
Problem is that there's zero advantage to marriage in the Western world for a man. There is zero statistical advantage. If you use your mind, if you use your head instead of your heart, and you look at the advantages to getting married, there are absolutely and utterly none. If a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak, fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him, and he has to give that chick money forever. All you're doing is scaring men away from commitment. And then you have to add in the other hidden element. All women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage. Guess what men would do? Get married. But you don't, right? So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, like, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no.
Name the benefits that a man receives by entering into a contract with a person who is rewarded for breaking the contract. For any reason she deems necessary, a woman has everything to gain and the man has everything to lose. She breaks the contract. You pay her 25% of each paycheck you get until you're dead. This is on top of losing your kids, your house, your friends, your cars, your savings, and your retirement. We're the prize, not the woman. Be smart. Stay single. Let the women struggle alone and be independent like they say they want to be.
So more physically attractive, I would say more emotionally available, more romantic, more energy, optimistic for the future, more time to live life and travel the world before starting a family, more fertile, less baggage and trauma. That's really big. The more relationships you've had, you get more baggage, you have more relationship trauma, you're jaded. More open to new ideas, more agreeable, typically easier to build a life with. Like we were talking about before, the more partners you've had, you've probably landed on a guy who's a top G. And once you've been with a really top guy, you're not going to be happy with Mr. Normal.
Of course, it's all men's fault. Of course. I've seen women's videos talking to men about dating, and the men say, "Why would I marry you?" And the women say that they're not talking about marriage, they're talking about dating. The men point out that men date someone they think has marriage potential, and the women are always like, no. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support, so please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.